So the next topic that I think, well, they're all extremely important to talk about, but advocating for students. I'm a huge advocate for, youth right now working as a social worker in Milwaukee County. Mental health is, my top priority at work every day, and advocating for these kids to get, mental health resources is so important, and I hope that I can carry that on to the school that I work in after I finish school. It's important to advocate for our students in all senses of the word. Sometimes a student might be having certain behaviors in class that a teacher may become upset with. I read in the book referencing our textbook, Corey, and then I used the ASCA guidelines as well. The book mentioned that we don't want to tell somebody how to do their job. So, like, if I have another coworker that the student might be not doing well in, or their personalities might be not meshing. It's still important, though, to advocate for that student as to how maybe they can be better in the classroom. Section A1 was about how as guidance counselors, school counselors, we need to be concerned with the academic, career, social, and emotional needs and encourage each student's maximum development. This is so important. This is where not only does the academic part come in and the social and emotional, so that's all extremely important, but then there's a whole other side to it as well, and that's usually that mental health aspect of how a student's doing, and us advocating for resources for that student, and advocating if that student needs extra time to do something, if they need, if they have test anxiety, advocating for that student to take the test somewhere else. We're kind of sometimes their lifeline, and so we need to remember that. I also think it's very important that A1F mentioned that we need to respect a student's beliefs, values, sexual orientation. I've been in rooms where teachers are making fun of, someone's outfit, or maybe a transgender student, and it breaks my heart because we should be that safe place. And at the end of the day, it's because people don't understand, and I can completely understand that. It's not my job to help other people understand, but it is my job to help educate. Especially about, I live in Milwaukee, so cultures, ethnicity, we are a melting pot, and that's beautiful. But it just kind of breaks my heart when I hear, some teachers or staff, just kind of, because like I said, it's all about not understanding. So part of my job as a school counselor, I want to help if people have questions or don't know something, educate, but in a respectful way, because you don't want to start anything with other staff members as well. A4 was also very important, section B, and that's to advocate, for individual students, pre-K through post-secondary, exploration, planning, decision-making, supporting the student's right to choose. So that's where we come in, with everything, allowing kids to explore career options, empowering them, empowering the parents to, open up and understand. I think it's so important because a lot of times, it is scary to tell your parents when you're that age what you want to do. And so it's easier to tell a school counselor, oh, I have dreams of doing this. Well, it is our job to empower that and to advocate for that. That's something I'm actually really excited for. And A6 is, it's called appropriate referrals and advocacy. This is where we advocate for if a student is in need of outside support. This can get a little bit tricky because, we still do have to abide by, confidentiality and everything, but still, give that child resources. Let them know that they deserve, outside resources. And if they're letting us, allowing us and giving us permission to talk to their parents, advocating for them as well. I advocate for kids all the time. Their parents might not think they need mental health support, but they're telling me differently. And so, sometimes as adults, we don't want to listen to kids because we don't think they know everything, but kids are so in tune a lot of the times with, their needs. And if we just sit and listen to them, sometimes they'll tell us exactly what they need and exactly what they want. So which is really neat. And then I thought F was really neat too, to advocate for the equal right and access to free, appropriate public education for all youth, in which students are not stigmatized or isolated based on their housing needs. So another really neat thing that I come across with a lot of school counselors and social workers in Milwaukee public schools, a lot of them will keep, snacks and socks and underwear, and that's something that I kind of cried the first time I saw it when I moved here, because I didn't grow up that way, so the kids can quietly, if they need a snack or breakfast. I just thought that was amazing, and they're advocating, in their own way for their students to be safe and well fed and clothed. I also think we need to advocate for our own self. As school counselors, which Section C mentioned, school counselors need to advocate not only within our school but outside of our school, for adequate resources. So that would be, do we need more than one school counselor? Do I have 500 kids? Is it, are these kids all being, advocated for and taken care of, the best I can? I like that B said that advocating to open distribution of resources among programs supervised. So that's good too. Again, Milwaukee County has a ton of resources, and this is, like I said, I always come back to Milwaukee County because that's probably the community that I'll be working in. So I know that there's, different resources for, Hispanic students or Hmong students, a lot of Muslim students, I know. So that's kind of nice too, is I know, if a student LGBTQ community, where to kind of, bring resources in for these kids. I just think it's so important to advocate for our youth, because a lot of times they have such big voices, they just don't know how to use them yet. And that's where we come in, in a respectful and, way that we can get them what they need. So two questions that I had was, how do you advocate for a student, but also, keep things confidential? I obviously, working where I do it all the time. It's just in a different aspect, because a lot of the times, the parents are in the room when we talk to kids. And obviously the only time you really need to talk to the parent is if you're afraid for, the individual harming themselves or harming somebody else. And another question I had was, is it uncomfortable to advocate for students with other staff members? So, I think about if I had a teacher that was just being, brutally mean to a student, and that student, came to me, is it uncomfortable to, talk to that teacher about, what that student's going through? So those are two of the questions that I kind of came up with. But I think that, as long as we keep advocating for our students and ourselves, the counseling world will continue to thrive.